Hello, Seiiti Arata. Is YouTube worthless? What if someone says that YouTube just sucks and is gonna make you waste your time? Here's a more provocative question. Is the useless content on YouTube your fault? Today we're gonna bring a little bit of psycholinguistics, which is a concept that I'll explain to you in a moment, and then you understand why the useless content of YouTube is your fault. And really, YouTube can be a huge waste of time, depending on your choices. But it's not YouTube's fault, it is just a tool. What makes all the difference is knowing how to research useful and high-quality subjects. The tool will only recommend videos that reflect our interests. If you only see useless content, it is your fault, because you're using the tool the wrong way. YouTube can be a great learning tool. For example, instead of searching for useless content, I can search for something to help me to improve on something. YouTube can be full of content that can be helpful and bring a big increase in your quality of life. See, we started the conversation today by talking about how the quality of the videos that come up as a recommendation in YouTube are reflecting the use that you do, but that was just the starting point for understanding something more valuable, understanding the way our brains work. If you don't know how to use your brain, it is your fault, because your results depend on your choices. See, the brain is a tool, just like YouTube, and if you use the tool the wrong way, you will get unwanted, inefficient results. The quality of the thoughts that you have will determine the quality of the conclusions and the actions that you will implement. And because of this, it is very valuable to ask yourself if you're thinking the right way. Do you talk to yourself the ideal way? Can you hear your voice in your mind at times that you're reflecting alone? Do you keep evaluating yourself to judge yourself? Want to hear your internal dialogue right now? During this time, when I was silent, saying nothing, you definitely heard your inner voice, even if you thought, I'm not thinking about anything. Well, that was the thought in your head. That was your inner voice. During these moments of internal conversation, do you call yourself by your name? Recent scientific research is showing us that this can be an important change that you can make to have a better life. You see, this is something that we call Eliism. Eliism, you need to use a little bit of Eliism, is basically speaking your own name when you're referring to yourself, to be more present, more aware of your internal conversation. I'm going to explain this tip to you in more detail soon. Your quality of life is influenced by the quality of your thoughts and your questions. The questions you ask yourself determine the conclusions that you will reach, and these conclusions determine your action or your lack of action. It is very worthwhile to understand more about the psycholinguistics that I mentioned briefly at the beginning of our conversation today. Psycholinguistics is the study of the relationship between psychological factors and linguistic aspects. The way you talk to yourself greatly influences the way you act. Good use of the internal monologue has positive effects, and this is mainly studied in the sports world, where the high performance is essential and small gains can separate the gold medal from a silver medal. If you keep cursing yourself using a negative, self-pessimistic, negative language, or if you ask yourself the wrong questions, then you are limiting yourself. Ideally, you should use supportive language to help you to achieve your big goals. And this is one of the cornerstones of the work we do here at Arata Academy Trainings. You need to improve the quality of your thoughts in order to improve the quality of your actions, and then your results. The person subject to failure often wonders, what did I do to deserve this situation? And the successful person often asks, what can I do different to improve my situation? I'll give you an example. Imagine a single boy who's shy, not very confident, and when he wants to talk to some attractive girl, he's unsure of what to say, he stutters, and then he becomes thoughtful and wondering why he always gets nervous when he's trying to talk to someone. This kind of thinking can be a negative spiral in which he starts to curse. I'm really a failure. There's no way I will improve. I should have stayed home. Develop the habit of asking better questions. A better way to use the internal monologue is to start asking better questions. How can I improve the way I talk to people? How do I increase my confidence? What subjects can I use to start an interesting conversation? What can I do different next time? Who are the people who can teach me something useful to help me? Do you understand now why it can be said that useless content on YouTube is your fault? You can tell this to the person who complains that YouTube, oh, what a waste of time, it only has junk content. Because that person who's complaining is probably using the wrong words in the YouTube search. The person who knows how to use good search words can find valuable content. This also goes for internal monologue. If you use the right words, you will find valuable content inside of your head. Your life will be completely different depending on the type of questions you ask. Talk to yourself in a second or third person. Usually our internal monologue is made in the first person, and common examples are, today I need to leave early because I have a meeting, or I think I could have done that job more carefully, in less haste. Very few individuals use the second person. In my case, my name is Seiiti. It would be unusual for me to say, Seiiti, you have to make a video about psycholinguistics. Seiiti, you're going to prepare dinner soon, right? Even fewer people use the third person for the internal conversation. That would be like me saying something like, now, Seiiti will share a paper from our scientific research on psycholinguistics. Today, Seiiti will open applications for the new course. And according to recent studies, when I speak using my name in the third person, there is an interesting and useful phenomenon of disengagement. When I speak in the third person, it is as if there is really another person by my side motivating me and helping me to have the right orders so that I can reach the right conclusions and perform the best actions. My performance is superior when I do this type of an internal dialogue. That is why when we are really focused, it is common for us to give a little bit of a description of our actions. Just for example, if I'm cooking a different dish that requires more careful preparation, it is common for me to think, well, first I'm gonna heat the oven, now I'm gonna be chopping the onion, now that I chopped the onion, I'm gonna dice the meat. Now, is everything good? Oh, the oven? No, I have to wait a little bit longer. Okay, so in the meantime, let me check what are the other ingredients. This type of an internal monologue helps me to have a good awareness of the actions that I'm performing, so my result will be superior. But this internal monologue is something everyone already does. Today's special tip is that you use eliason, which is referring to yourself in the third person to set up your internal dialogue. This works particularly well in high-performance situations, so you are aware of the actions you should take and how you should perform the actions. When you need high performance, talking to yourself in the first person will generally bring you weaker results. Perhaps that is why in the world of high performance, there are two well-known names that are associated with eliason: Pelé and Maradona, two of the greatest soccer players of all time. By the way, you can leave here in the comments who you think is the best player ever. Be clear about what your internal monologue looks like. The first thing you need to do is to gain greater clarity about what you do, how you talk to yourself. And there are two good techniques for this. The first technique is when you realize that you're thinking alone, then you can write down your thoughts, trying to be as faithful as possible about the structure of your thoughts, the shape of your thoughts. And the second technique, you can simply use the voice recorder app of your phone and repeat out loud the exact thoughts that you had, what exactly was your internal monologue. And if you want to go further, you can even create a spreadsheet or a table to tell in each day how many thoughts you had in the first person, in the second person, and third person, and then you can track your improvements. Now, no life hack overcomes lack of skill. I thought several times before using the term life hack because unfortunately it has been abused with false exaggerated promises. The hard reality is that no life hack will overcome the lack of skill. In a situation that requires high performance, the most important thing of all is to do all the proper training to acquire the skills that you need to perform. For example, if I'm participating in a running marathon, a competition, the most important thing is that I train my muscles, my mind, my running technique. The basis of my results is precisely this training that represents my ability. Only in the case of a situation in which I already trained my skill to the maximum and I'm also competing with other runners of similar level, then yes, that hack can help me a little bit. Instead of having thoughts like, I need to take a deep breath, I need to step at the right angle for more stability, it will be more useful for me to think, Seiiti needs to take a deep breath, now Seiiti needs to step at the right angle for more stability. This is a kind of incremental improvement that will not work miracles, but it can help you to increase your focus and result in a high performance situation as long as the foundation skills are there. The quality of the answers we get depends a lot on the quality of the questions we ask, and the quality of the questions we ask is closely linked to the way we talk to ourselves. This is Psycholinguistics, and by comparison, when you search for low-quality words on YouTube or any other search engine, you can only get low-quality answers, low-quality content. The same goes for your own internal monologue. So be kinder to yourself, talk in ways that improve your results, not to put yourself down. A good way to do this and get more presence is to talk to yourself in the second or third person. But remember that this is just a life hack, and it's probably not going to bring a major transformation in your life. The real transformation happens when you work at your fundamental, your essential skills. That means understanding what you want to improve, knowing the level of sacrifice and dedication that you need, and focusing what will really bring you the biggest results, and then you apply it consistently. This is real personal development. Because of this, I invite you now to have an access to your free presentation class of our personal development training by visiting arata.se/personal development.